see what happens.
Alright.
I appreciate you being present.
Yeah.
Okay, I should be live now.
Finally, the setup is getting close to official.
I know, right?
Somebody, Gooey made that joke. Wow, so many people streaming at this hour. Hey everyone, how's the echo? Are we starting with some?
Did you start with Bestagon last time?
Yeah. It's the one that probably looks more similar at the end.
Okay. Then I shall be doing it that way. This won't take but a moment.
I mean, the two are probably going to be like somewhat similar. In terms of like complexity at the end. But or complexity throughout, but I think Bestagon converges more. You know, merely based on the fact that you're trapped in a hexagon. No
Yeah,
echo?
fair
Oh,
enough.
hell yeah. My GF is DMing me her Wordle. I'm gonna do my Wordle.
Game music is a bit
I'm
loud.
related to this stream.
Can adjust
That
it.
could just be turned down, you know, in game. I wonder if you're hearing the same music for the game I am.
I do wonder.
You know, you can enter the solution now, find out. Yeah, it is the same. Alright, muted it now though so I don't keep on hearing myself.
Okie doke. I'm just messing with scripts for
HMAG
a
says you
moment.
play the muter louder than sounds. Hopefully by the next time I'll have a parser that doesn't use WXPython ready for you, and that hopefully should work better.
Okay, thank you. I very much appreciate you. You are basically more of a host than I am.
Nah, not really. Think of me like tech support.
Boy, do I sure need some do that cares for.
Oh yeah, I looked at this yesterday. I saw that she was 50 and I was like, lol. Lamau?
Optimized for getting onto the mainstream.
So this is what we were calling yesterday, the un-Jocelyn method, or piston of justice method. Also, look at that zoom.
Yep, we got a zoom function.
That'll be so useful next week. Not for this metric. This metric we're confined in the box, in a hexagon.
Yes. Okay. Darkbrick wants me to hurry up, and I shall hurry up then.
drop like 20 cycles. Is Darkrai coming up? I'm just gonna look at the spreadsheet.
Well, that's not 20. But it is some.
It's gonna be hard to drop 20 here.
Keep the storage area.
It seems like I forgot what, like if we ended on a palette on the appreciation stream, but it seems that a lot of these solves are doing pairs by pairs.
It is a sensible method.
Yeah. There was a lot of discussion on what the best method should be on the appreciation stream, and people were talking about ring and spoke being one of the good ones, and people were even talking about like maybe a hybrid version.
Bestagon does lend itself to weird hybrid strategies because you're just opportunistically building the molecule.
Yeah. People saying hybrid has got to be best, and over here what we're looking at is the ring and spoke method.
It is pretty good.
What we talked about in the appreciation stream yesterday was that people think that a hybrid between the halves method, building a half first and then doing the ring and spoke method, would be the best.
So
We haven't seen the halves method yet, though.
This is where we'll see whether that hypothesis holds up. Hey, Olivia Juliet on the main stream
really
again.
We're really going really fast. Have there been notes to these solves?
Oh, dang it, I knew I forgot getting something. Moraconda said started at 90 minutes to deadline and not at all optimized. Wish I had more time this week. None of the others have had notes. So I haven't been that negligent, hee.
Alright, I'll have the notes open simultaneously.
Thank you for showing us how to do ring and spoke, Olivia Juliet.
Placement are we? 47th.
Yes, we are. Whoopsie.
It seems that a lot of these solutions currently feature in this about this area feature a very long track with lots of arms on it. Yes, people are saying it's very Molex Synthes coded. A lot of these, I mean, Bestagon in general is kind of Molex Synthes coded.
If an atom needs to be in a spot at some point, but you can't put like a glyph there, just make it track to allow your arms to do more. Very cool.
This is also important area tech. How many total submitters were there for the Bestagon metric? I don't know. What did we start at? Let me tell you last place for 4 Bestagon. That's close enough. 86th. Also, Darkbreak says he thinks this is the first Tribonder of the week.
Check this interesting Vitae placement in the partially assembled output. And then there's a cool pivot. That might be pivot of the week. Who am I kidding? We have a whole bunch of solves left. I can't say for sure yet.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything as juicy as that yesterday. And we did go through about half the solves yesterday, so.
Okay. Thank you for your juicy pivot, Vilfuck. You say it sucks, but you're on the mainstream. Okay. Iris has some things to say. This is a pretty sucky solve, but it should be Min Bestigon. Look, I'm no good at cycles, and this is basically a production cycles puzzle in disguise, so I decided to sink more of my time on the much more interesting to me Sum puzzle. Whether that was a good choice or not? Probably not. Anyhow, I'm constructing the molecule in a ring first, then adding the rest, because trying to do it by halves was really difficult. Might be faster, but I'm aiming for not awful, not good or fast. The line swaying regrabs are a bit silly, but probably not the limiting factor here, I hope. Getting the atoms moving in the right order also helps shave some cycles off. Anyways, hopefully not terrible.
45th isn't terrible.
Also, the assembly here is just satisfying.
Mhm.
Okay, 42 Genius 42 is using Little Timmy's name in vain, but more importantly, has notes. Left the equilibrium glyphs off, so this is very slightly better for some metric too, though it was built with Bestigon foremost in mind. We'll not have much time after this until week 5. We'll be away from main PC, though I might get a look in at streams, we'll see. Good luck, Timmy! These are there are 3 spots that could have had a glyph of equilibrium, but did not to save the area for some.
4 actually. There's one on the top left too, I think.
No.
Yeah. I mean, assuming we're not counting Cortelli.
Yeah.
Also, I like how this solution has it's got 2 bond. A lot of the solutions for Ring and Spoke that we saw yesterday was that they had such a roundabout way of bonding on the single atoms, but over here, these solves, they've improved a lot. The transition from the input to the bonding to the ring is much smoother.
Really is. We are gradually descending in cycle count. And this is unjostling instead of ring and spoke. Very nice.
I think the benefits of unjostling that was mentioned yesterday was that you don't have to do as many debonds to the input. Because what was discussed yesterday was that there's the same amount of bonds between all the inputs you have to pull and the output in total. So you want to try to reduce the amount of debonds you have to do. Oh, this is 6P'd.
Yep, 6p to save a cycle. I don't know if it's 1 cycle, but that's usually the amount in this case.
1 cycle might matter.
44th place was 5 cycles later than this one, so I don't know if it did. But the optimization is what's important.
You never know. Maybe there's a whole pile-up and it saves you like 4 placements or something.
Yeah, you don't know if you're in a tertiary war or not, so fight like you are. Ooh, this is a unique method.
This is what Mara would have called random bullshit go.
and it sure is going. Only 308 cycles. For this stupid
It
puzzle.
looks like a variant of the hook method? Or the chirality. It looks like a variant of the chirality corrector or the hook method. I don't know. You know what? Random bullshit go.
Zanuck writes, this sure was annoying to parallelize. It looks annoying too. Hold on. There's a... I want to see that again. Okay, here we go. Arm 1 has to do that. This swing left and then swing right in order to give Arm 2 space to turn its two atoms. Wow, this really looks annoying. I appreciate you getting this done, Zanuck. Oop.
See the solution notes and they're quite funny. Not the solution, the solution name.
Where is... Um...
Huh. Back at 43rd?
Yeah, I think I'm a little confused about what I'm supposed to be doing with the parser here.
I, I the placement
Okay,
list
this is-
disappears because the parser is crashing.
Okay. So the next thing that should be here is...
There we go.
the dark brick. Yay, dark brick can go to bed.
Wasn't Dark Brick saying that halves is better than Bestagon? Here we see him with not a half solve. Also, welcome to sub 300.
Yes. Now, you might say something like, this other method is better, when... Like, you might say method B is better when you have tried method A and found that you weren't having a good time trying to make it work. So that might be Dark Brick's logic here. Thank you for submitting, Dark Brick.
The suppression is pretty smooth here.
Yep. And there is something to be said for making things easy to assemble, because the difficulty of rearranging stuff is like the whole gimmick of this puzzle. There are no glyphs besides bonding and debonding, and the glyph of equilibrium, which is always there.
And calcification, I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Hey,
you could do that if you
Earth
want.
into salt? You sure can. Next up at 293 cycles. One cycle better than Dark Brick.
Only 3 arms here, and they're doing it pretty smartly. This is kind of unjostling, but there's also like a third that gets slapped on at the end. This is,
That gets slapped
I
at
guess
the end,
this
yeah.
is more of a random bullshit go kind of solution because of the opportunistic bonding.
Yeah, I think it goes more from... It starts from unjostling and it ends with hook. It does 2/3. It does 4/6 and then 1/3. 4/6 plus 1/3 solve. Odd third out. There, Rebix described it better than I could.
And Dark Brick is saying that for week 5, there's at least one metric where you can use the glyph of calcification as a deluxe glyph of equilibrium, which is true.
Oh, I've seen this. I've seen some solutions. Many people have taken liberty of that.
Oops, I spilled my calcifiers. Anyway, let's see a tertiary tie doing this. No notes. The solution title, though, is giving tertiary tie's opinion pretty well, though.
I believe a tertiary tie did this last day.
Yeah.
If not last few hours.
No, the good thing about this gimmick name is that I don't have to make the same joke every time because the joke was already done exactly on week 1. Nothing is going to top that.
Uh-huh.
And we got a new solution 1 from Arenia Wormwood.
Copy.
That is a Dark Academia name if I've ever heard one.
Oh, I like how it just incidentally finishes the ring while it's attaching the spokes. An optimization to the ring and spokes method.
There is a lot of time to get that last bond done while you're moving the ring around to attach the spokes, so it only makes sense.
Yeah. A feature of a lot of these solves compared to the appreciation stream is that they have a lot more they have a lot more smarter bonder and debonder placements. A lot of the solves we saw there was like yeah, it works. This layout works. I'm done. Let's do some sum.
Arenia has notes in the string chat. Hi folks, I've only just realized I didn't add any notes while watching the results stream, so I don't know if this will get in. No real notes to the solution other than the fact that ARM 5 really messed with me. Long-time lurker, first-time tournament solver. My sum solve got number 76, but I didn't really try to optimize that, hehe. I'm an area and cycles main myself, so this puzzle felt like something I'd have fun optimizing. Probably won't have a lot.
With this puzzle, fun is optional.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on fun being optional for this puzzle that I'll save for in between the 2 metrics.
Never mind, she finished her message.
Okay, probably won't have a lot of time for other tournament puzzles, but I had fun with this one. I'm glad you had fun with it.
Cutoff made it pretty funny.
Okay, a few more cycles off. See how this one does it. We are seeing this familiar pivoting station motif. This is what it looks like when you have one debonder.
This also is a very familiar bonding station technique, but I don't think it takes full advantage of the I guess it does incidentally do a last bond. Like the previous one, it's just a lot more faster with it.
I like this alternating pivot and push from ARM 4 and ARM 5 that they do for as long as possible, and then ARM 4 scoots out of the way, Malek Syntez style.
The cycle differences are indeed getting smaller.
For example, this difference is only by 1. Zine writes, all the disassembling and reassembling in a limited space is diabolical. Yeah, it is. That's why I did it.
Oh my god, this is thirds.
It's a fast thirds.
It is.
I suppose one advantage of this is that you minimize time spent flailing around a huge molecule, because it's in as evenly distributed piece sizes as possible.
The disadvantage is that you have so many single atom intermediaries to handle at the same time. Because you have to keep like this intermediaries from the previous input to like catch up with the to like keep it around for the next third. Because 3 doesn't equal 4. Wow.
Person Drive writes, I wasn't quite done improving this, but the game wouldn't let me make any more solutions for some reason. The joke is integer overflow.
I see.
So we have the opportunistic completion of the last bond of the ring. Pretty cool.
The benefits of the ring and spoke method are mostly that your intermediary is a ring in the middle, and that's easy to deal with. It's small in area footprint. So, you know, your product doesn't really grow to the full size until the very end. As opposed to halves, you gotta have the big chunky intermediary pretty early.
Drop of 5 cycles. Also, fancy track loop. We've got unjostling. Another moment of storing a loose atom inside the mostly complete output.
Convenient place to have it.
Check that out.
Pivot of the weak contender right there.
Jamu writes, poopy and bad. I think it's more of a cool and good, but to each their own.
Vicky says in the chat that she feels like the balance between arms and glyphs in both metrics is very open-ended. Do you want more arms, or do you want more glyphs? Both can be good.
Okay. This is beating Jamu only on tertiary.
Oh boy.
The notes say, we love saving 308 cycles in a single day. We sure do. It's simply a very clean unjostling. Liner Man writes, Instructions Optimization, with his notes from his first submission. This is among the hardest things I've done in this game. I have no prior experience optimizing for bounding hexagon, so I turned to the leaderboards and the BC solve for armor polish inspired the layout of this one. The main challenge was finding an orientation of the product, bonder, and reagent, as well as an assembly procedure such that I could manipulate the growing molecule without crashing into the reagent.
BC solve for armor polish should be pretty new, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Keeping this suppressed towards the end seems pretty important.
Yeah. But it only has to be suppressed for that final spoke to come in, does it? No, it doesn't even overlap.
It's just for ease of use.
Yeah, for the ease of use of the bonder.
Seems like we're seeing a lot of ring and spoke in this section of solutions.
Yeah, and the benefit of ring and spoke is that there's like you can do it with one single bonder. and have it still be efficient, because the halves method kind of have to have, like for example, with the halves method, kind of have to have a bonder way far out to like bond the halves together more efficiently.
And if you're not using so much space on bonders, you can use them for arms. Anyway, we are out of the 273 pile up. Spec 98
Right,
has no notes.
3 solutions were 273.
Yes.
Are we doing thirds? No? We're doing something.
We're doing random bullshit go.
Opportunistic bonding.
Yeah, this is random bullshit go. Look at this formation.
It's kind of doing thirds, but the middle third is a bit fucked up.
This is just 3 cycles less. The notes say, the amount of times I built the wrong product. Yeah, see, both the input and the output are chiral in the wrong way, so you have to plan that in advance. Good, bring in smoke. You're getting a secondary tie with a pretty similar method. The notes say, had a 3-arm at 297 cycles for a while, but then added a couple of more in and reprogrammed it to reduce to 266. I am assuming 4-side best gone is the best anyone can do, as 3 seems impossible. Yeah, this is minimum primary.
The discussion yesterday saying that 3 is min is because as soon as you place down the product and the reagent, that's more than 3. Not 3 is min, 4 is minimum.
Yeah. The shape metrics can get you a little bit paranoid about black magic, but really, if you just put down all the stuff you need to put down, it will force your area taken up into a larger space than the minimum shape size, and you'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Get another 266. Is it ring and smoke?
It looks like it. It's got a single bonder.
It is not. It is unjostling.
Huh.
It makes it look easy, really. The notes say, rotating the molecule is very slow due to having to move it out of the way, but I don't have time to find another layout. This will do. And it sure will.
Nerd.
Okay, let's make it faster. Ebanov
Wow, that's
writes...
a bit of a drop.
Ebanov writes 30 43 rate steady state and have arm 1 on first product skip pivoting and grab rock atom instead of paper atom from pivoting.
We're doing thirds again?
Yep.
Damn.
With the pivot. So here it is, arm 5, doing a pivot one way and then the other. With as said, the notes, arm 1 just swinging the inputs left and right in order to prevent the collision. You make a compelling argument, Evanov. Okay. Zandorf has no notes. It's 2 cycles faster. Back to Ring and Smoke. There's a lot of unused-ish space over here, so that's why this is such a good space for the additional bonder.
Additional bonder just completes the ring, right? Well,
Yep.
Just one part of the ring. Because most of the people have been assembling their rings in halves. And you need to bond it on both ends. Bond the halves on both ends.
Aganeski writes, hexagons are the bestagons, so naturally the hexagon needs to be built first. Everything is bottlenecked by arm 2 moving the first of the 4 inputs out of the way, so pre-rotating it while the previous output is being built saves 5 cycles at the cost of a 6p instruction tape. Those 5 cycles did matter, because Zandorf was only 4 cycles slower. We've got Calioresis. Even 250. No notes. Cool multi-bonder.
We're at the point where you could probably go a bit slower.
Yep. Thanks, Gooey.
Oh yeah, how was Easter for you, by the way?
I spent it with my dad, and we had a good time doing a bunch of pretty low-key activities.
Hell yeah. So
this starts by making a half and then a third, and finishing it off with a sixth by a multi-bonder.
The 3-2-1 method.
We got Calioresis this far, and that is commendable.
It's also got a tri-bonder. Interesting.
According to Desk Weasel, Arm 5 proudly says, "I'm doing my part."
It sure is doing things.
Yeah, its job is to pull the output. It pulls the output once per output. There wasn't going to be anything else of use on that hex, so hey, why not? Yep. More good evidence for unjostling here. Still good to see Desk Weasel this high. Dropping another few cycles. No notes, ring and spoke. It's like the last rotation of ring and spoke is a little more awkward than the first 5. But it gets Brother Mojo below 250 cycles, which is freaking awesome. Yeah, when you only have 2 glyphs, you have a lot of space for arms. That being said, it's also a lot of space that the output is going to be flailing over. So, swings and roundabouts. So making a half and then a third, and it's 3-2-1 just without a multi-bonder. It's very cool that this doesn't produce a wrong bond at any point.
Ah. Nova mentioned in the chat that he had the same name as, I think it was Mika.
Yep.
That feels like such a far out of the way place to connect your pairs, though.
It is. It
Like, the
does
place
seem to
it's
work.
actually connecting the pairs on is so far away. And I feel like that, you know, maybe... I don't know.
This is
Probably a more efficient layout.
getting that last bond made seems to be a bit of a doozy for this layout, but not anything else about it, which is why it gets this high up.
Like, the halves have to travel they have to travel to the bottom bonder, then that's where they're attaching the pairs. Also, I think we can spend a bit more time on these solves. We don't have to go that fast.
Yeah, sorry. The notes say, title. This is based on the first layout I tried, so I expect it is not the best. Building spoke by spoke would likely be faster, but I will not subject myself to that. I had a much better solve for this metric before it was unfairly destroyed by a mid-week rule change. Tourney hosts, please be careful with your wording.
I would not call that a midweek rule change. I think that was you being obtuse. Because how exactly do you intend to calculate fractional bestagon with an irregular hexagon? And if you didn't ask for clarification on how that's calculated, well...
I'm sorry that I don't
What
get
did
my
you
wording
expect?
right consistently.
You made a solve without even understanding what primary you would have gotten.
Love Math Boy writes, this solution nearly beats my initial sum solution at sum. I get a feeling that means Love Math Boy struggled a bit with sum. Yeah. Bestagon really is, we like production so much, we did production in free space. And everyone love-hated it at the same time. So we've got an interesting setup for unjostling here. The extra atoms are held on standby in this bonder.
Conveniently out of the way.
Mm-hmm. It makes it look like this molecule is not a gigantic pain to move around.
Panic.
Hey, ring and spoke. That's opportunistic bonder right here.
Yeah. It doesn't even spend any more like cycles to do that bond. It just happens to go there.
Chat is a little confused about why there
Motions
aren't any big drops lately. Bestagon is not a metric that lends itself to pile-ups that well.
Or more so, I guess, yeah, you don't really get much pile-ups, you get an even distribution of, like, just cycle shapes throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Puzzle.
There are no notes. This is a secondary tie with Panic, so improvement only on the cost.
By a 30 cost.
Mm-hmm. Gooey is pointing out the length 3 fixed arm. Like, it doesn't even swing, it's a pivot arm only, which is why it can be off in Narnia.
You know, that could have been a Steven piston arm, a Steven pivot arm, and it would still have beaten Panic.
True that.
Only one of them, though.
Yeah. Sacrificing tertiary for the swag is something that is tempting, but is not done as often as you think it is.
Mm-hmm. Unless your name is Shadow Cluster.
The notes say, sadly, this is just the first solve I could push out. Making a whole order management system work ain't easy, so I didn't have enough time to really try. I think the solution is decent, but the hack I have to do to connect the last iron, passing input suppression, makes it such that I can't loop, so that bites some of the cycles. Well, it's also fun being on the Jerry's Attic stream. Much love, and happy Easter. This is not the geriatric stream.
This is 15th place.
You did real well, MKTS.
Wait. the error was different. I want to see that error message again if we get to it.
Yes. Now that may not be moved in two directions at once. Yeah, you're just grabbing the same thing twice.
Is it great last time? Sneaky, Easter egg. Is it great instead of okay? Or am I seeing things?
I didn't see it. So I think this is the bit at the end that MK Test was talking about with not looping so well. Because this
really
Earth had to pass through the
suppression
input.
is really smooth.
Yeah. Now it could just be
It barely
moved.
looks like it's suppressed at all.
Well, MK Test writes in chat, really did not expect to get so high with this solve. It was basically a random bullshit go kind of workflow. Well, Basagon does random bullshit go.
That is some wacky track layouts down there.
Some new solution ones are impressive. Some of them titling them new solution one is like disrespectful, but in like a cool way too. This feels like one of those latter ones.
Goodbye Galaxy saying, Goodbye Galaxy and GUI saying that's more of the drop that they were expecting. That was 7 cycles.
Getting excited over 7 cycles. That's this metric for you.
Drops are relative. That's true. But still. Speaking of.
Okay. Goodbye Galaxy writes, 6P saves 5 cycles by juggling 2 full inputs plus the completed product on the board all at once. I do want to see that.
This is a 3rd solve. Goodbye
Yeah.
Galaxy did a 3rd solve. Wow. And 13.
Okay, this is where the juggling will start, I think. Okay. Maybe the juggling was earlier. Okay, so by juggling there wasn't, it meant there is not an iron being pushed over to here like there are in most of the repetitions. Yeah, this motion here.
Yeah, this is the juggling part.
Okay.
It usually doesn't do much of the juggling. Like the last loop is where it doesn't do the juggling.
Okay.
The other 5 loops have to do juggling to save, so that it saves 5 cycles, 1 for each loop. Well, 1 for each product, except for the last, because the last doesn't need to do it.
Very cool maneuvering, Goodbye Galaxy. Little droppier now. The notes say,
Guesses.
really happy with this 224. The trimming from 254, my second solve, to this one may have been hazardous, but I feel like I took all the bottlenecks down and stayed sane, which is nice. And the solve feels smooth, which is nice. I think sub 200 might be possible with a double dip build, but I couldn't figure out a viable layout because of double unbonder. I'm content with what I've done, so I haven't looked that much into it. Bestagon is fun. There are mixed opinions on how fun Bestagon is.
Yeah, this is doing the ring and spoke method really fast. It's got 2 places it can attach the spokes. I see.
Yeah, so that really speeds up the attachment.
Yeah. Gooey says, oh, we finally have someone manipulating the ring the fast way.
Ominous. Going down a little. The notes say, I would first like to say that I love this metric. This is my first time submitting to the tournament for a weekly, and I plan on becoming a regular. I also might be the only person who submitted to only BC and not some, which is funny. My first solution was 534C, and the first version of this layout was 324C. And the rest of the notes is a detailed explanation of my solution, so feel free to not read it all. Imdark goes on to explain basically ring and spoke method. Also 6p at the end. There are a lot of little implementation details about what each arm is doing and when as well. Yeah, Bookworm is pointing out the extra bonding that gets unbonded later just for ease of transport. This is good stuff. I don't think I've seen this in any other solution.
It's taking advantage of the elbow building from the ring to like make it more convenient to debond.
Top 10 time.
Cause it was building the elbows anyways. To make the middle ring.
Yeah, it was, so reuse the machinery you already have. It's a good idea for both Sum and for Bestagon. There are no notes for this.
Congrats on top 10, Wing Pearl.
Yeah.
Only aiming to get into top 50.
Good work. Yeah, all of this is super fast. There's forming that last bond at the end, and even that's not that much of an inconvenience considering how fast everything else was done. Having the second...
It's got 2 places to attach the pairs, yeah.
The second bonding site really comes in clutch. Vermilion Dragon writes an ASCII image of a Bestagon. Yay! Super
He
fast
is
ring and spoke.
increasingly surprised by her placement. Also, that's my username, but with Vestagon in the solution title.
Yeah. So previously the ring has been manipulated over here, but when it's time to do it's time to form the missing bond, it's just done over here instead. So that's taken care of without missing a beat. And it just goes back to manipulating it the other way. This is so cool. Okay, you wanted a drop, you get a drop.
A drop of 8 whole cycles. Wow.
Okay. Ring and spoke, but with the ring formed in an interesting order. 3 + 1 + 2. Instead of building elbows, like the previous solutions mostly have. Because of the 2 bonding sites, the spokes can be put on pretty much wherever. Actually, it looks like they're just all going to the lower one, and this bonder at the top is entirely for ring formation. So it's
The lower one is in the wrong chirality, I think. Yeah. Not lower, the upper one. The upper one is the wrong chirality for the spokes.
this one is. Oh, okay. Because of this alley over here, there's nothing that gets in the way of the rotation of the product. So this has all the advantages of the previous ring and spoke methods, but there's never like that one last spot at the end where it's a little awkward to put it together. Wow, this is cool. Another 7 cycles.
You all wanted drops. Here's more drops.
The gentle slope downwards is not being so gentle anymore. And this is another really swag ring and spoke. The ring is slapped together extra fast. And the last arm that has a hold of it is also part of the rotation method, which is just grand. Winter writes, "This just lies within the comfortable zone of an area main."
Right? Yeah, Winter is an area main.
Nice.
Dewey says they're probably next. With the drops that have been happening, anybody could be next.
Gooey is indeed
Gooey.
next.
A tiny drop of 2 cycles.
Continuing ring and spoke dominance, but now even faster manipulation of the ring. This is that fast method Gooey was alluding to earlier.
Without the regrabs. There's arm 3 doing some wacky pivots.
Also some very fast pivoting and disassembly work going on here. Arm 5 helps out. Thank you for submitting, GUI. Okay. Hey guys, do you like drops? Because there's some more drops coming.
Have some drops. Here. 7 cycle drop upon ye. Biggie, it's you.
The notes say stopping for the week on this one. Also, very fun frustration title.
Oh, it's attaching 3 spokes at once.
Yeah, that's how Biggie does it. So the thing is, if you're doing all these bonds at once, the last manipulations of the big molecule, it's not that big, even.
No
It's
need
only-
to pivot all things. No need to do the fast pivot when you can just bond 3 at once.
Yeah. And then it's all done, and you just take it to the output and win. It's wonderful.
GUI is saying the ring assembly is also cool.
Yeah, this is a very some-brained way of doing it, because Arm 3 grabs now and is not going to let go for the next, like, 16 cycles while doing all the assembly. Yeah, it reshaped its triangle into an elbow, pivoted to pick up the 4th atom, slides down to pick up the other 2, pivots again to finish forming the ring, and since it still has it anyway, it's going to slide it up into place to pick up 2 of the spokes. This is a little more manipulation to get a 3rd spoke on, and finally lets go to let the other arms take over. This is speed. This is gaming. Cycle drop.
The drops don't stop coming. New player. In top 4.
Daniel writes, "This is version number 14. The 2 arms on the bottom right swap roles after each product for a faster reset. I also really like the little dance the 3rd Earth atom has to do to avoid bonding too early so that the inner ring can be completed."
See the little schmooving of the Earth atom back and forth.
Let's see. I think it starts here. Yeah. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I don't think this is even 6p. It's just really fast.
Probably
Man.
2p?
Maybe.
Because it talks about arms, like the 2 pistons on a track swapping places, so it's probably 2p?
Yep. 2p. It definitely
Or
looks like
maybe
that.
yeah.
And Arm 5 is a single arm. A length 1 single. How swag. And this is very instructive for Bestagon. And it forms this
Also, Lila asked... Oh. You go first.
Okay.
I'll respond. In text.
Thank you, Best.
People have already done so.
It forms one of these last missing bonds with just an opportunistic extension and retraction of the piston. Let me see if I can find that specifically. Yeah, right here. So it's waiting for a spoke to be attached anyway, so might as well... Boop! That bond's done. Continue doing the thing. Delightful. Okay. So, for the podium,
The bigger drops?
we take a drop of 10 cost.
Huge drop. 10.
So for this solution, there's not even any need to extend a little bit to get the extra bond done. The bonder can just happen to be placed in the way of where that missing bond would be going in the first place.
Why are there so many fixed arms up in the podium? Up in the top 10? Sometimes you just don't need an arm to extend, yeah. Sometimes all the arm is doing is pivoting.
Yeah. When I'm doing
That
best...
track river is impressive, though.
Yeah, this is a really cool economization of space. If arms can share a track river, they can go to more places, and having your arms be more flexible tends to win you cycles with these constrained vestigons. Just because it makes this annoying freaking molecule less annoying.
Yeah, the disassembly is fast, and making the ring is also fast. This is doing syrup tech for ring building. No grab drops needed. Syrup tech strikes again.
It's everywhere when you start looking for it. Okay, back to actual big drops.
12 cycles. That's like 2R. Surgy D. I think this is the first time Surgy D is in the top 10 this tournament.
Surgy D writes, after several failed attempts, this is the only build order I managed to get working. There is no space for additional bonders, debonders, or bonders, but there are probably 50 plus cycles to be saved. That is a bold prediction. So this says fast manipulation of the inner ring with the fast disassembly, this opportunistic formation of a final ring bond. This has everything. So many arms working too.
That is a very impressive track river once again. And it's actually rivering, I think. Does arm 1 travel rightwards? Oh, arm 6 travels leftward. So it is actually rivering.
All this is super cool. Thank you for submitting, Surgy D. Okay. For first place, we do have another big drop.
Is it 50 cycles?
It's not 50.
Nope.
but
Just
it's a
12.
lot.
Just 12.
So this is even faster disassembly, I think.
In the end, it actually just comes down to disassembly.
You thought this was an assemble the annoying molecule puzzle, but it's more of a disassemble the annoying input puzzle.
Also, Repix says this solve doesn't work in 2 out of 6 global rotations. I want to see the ones where it doesn't work in.
Yes.
Can we turn on the area tracker? I assume it doesn't work as in it's actually slightly more bestigon.
Okay, well, it's not... It's not 5... It's not 6p, so... Trying to find the ones where it doesn't work. Okay, hang on, I've only tried 3 of the rotations. I surely will find the ones where it doesn't.
I assume doesn't work means it's actually 5 bestigon. Like it kind of sticks out somewhere. So we need to watch out for that. Not that it'll crash at any time. Or maybe it will, maybe it overclocks.
Found it.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, so this is deep lore game knowledge. Okay, so to explain to the people who are confused in chat, so Opus Magnum is built on a hexagonal grid, and the underlying mathematics of Opus Magnum is based on the dimensions of the image file that represents a tile. The thing is, these tiles represented as images have a certain number of pixels, which are integer numbers. But the dimensions of a regular hexagon are irrational if you measure height versus width. Therefore, there is a slight anisotropy in some rotations. Normally, you don't have to think about this at all because it's a very small effect. So, like, if an atom just barely grazes an arm or something like that, it might be because of that anisotropy. It's very silly. Yeah, if you just go into the game files and change the dimensions of the PNG that represents grid cells, the game will just think hexagons are a different height and width and pretend it works. There was a GIF that Mr. Puzzle shared. That was Chibi Opus Magnum or something like that. You can look it up. But yeah, that was Vestagon. You sure can make it go fast, even though it looks like you can't. Okay, let me clear this stuff out.
Make sure you don't delete the one that the parser is has on.
Yeah, the parser is getting closed and a different parser loaded up.
See, we found the link of Chibi OM. Oh god. Oh, what is this? Why are the atoms so big?
Okay. Before I get to the sum part of the stream, I have some comments on this puzzle from the perspective of the host. So in general, I think this puzzle went okay. We had over 100 submitters. We had a lot of people playing with it, doing their best. Also, a lot of grumpiness over trying to solve the damn thing. There is a saying in writing called "kill your darlings," where if you have a good idea for a scene or a character or something that is good on its own but doesn't fit in with a broader story you're trying to tell, you may have to just take it out of that story and put it in a box for later to put it into a place where it will actually shine. Because otherwise it's going to make your story a little worse and make the scene not as good as you envisioned it. I think Roshambonite is one of the darlings that I should have killed for the tournament. I didn't want to take it out, even though it had the same output shape as the input of Snow Amputation, but they were both such compelling ideas for me that I had to leave them in. And I wanted to do a sum puzzle that was about the pure geometry of moving atoms around in Opus Magnum. Plus, this chirality problem is just so evil that I had to throw it at the community of people that chew up evil puzzles for breakfast. Now, I keep saying I had to do all that, but I really didn't. It's my tournament. I can do whatever the hell I want. And this is one of the things that I could have just left out. But it is week 4 in the end. It is here. We're gonna show all the sum solutions and the showcase solutions, and we're gonna get back to next week, which I'm sure is something super innocuous. Oh god, it's labeled tax fraud.
I love committing tax fraud. For all intents and purposes, that is a joke. The evilness is part of the fun. It is. Can't have a tournament without a bit of evilness in it.
Okay.
So last time we left off at tie in 51st for some. Here's 50th.
Sum is also one of those metrics that will drop slowly.
Yeah.
So
And we're starting off with some bricking. This is very TI brain.
oh yeah, this has a structure of TI for sure. TI and sum are not, like, they're not as closely related as like rate and cycles or whatever, but the ideas between them can be surprisingly similar, even though they look totally different. And so this weird bricking going on is a lot less weird than it looks. It forms a bond between two separate pairs of inputs to get the the missing a limb of the Roshambonite, so that Arm 4 can just keep pulling and pivoting to make it work. The notes say, everything else I tried had a sum of around 500. Well, it's a good thing you tried this, then. Oops. Parser decided it didn't like that.
Does that sometimes?
Okay. Parser, you have to work with me a little bit here. Okay, there we go. So we have a tie for 48th place. It was asked at
ties all the way down.
It was asked at one point whether some was prone to ties, and I said less than you'd think. So I might have been basing that on my experience with tournaments where you don't get a 3-digit number of submitters.
I do think that the ties aren't that consequential though, because it's hard to argue that one sum solve is better than the other just based on secondaries, because it's not exactly something that's easy to optimize for.
Yeah, and what am I going to do? Say instructions is a secondary? Then people can't have party arms. Thank you for submitting, Vilfuck. I like what Arm 3 is doing here, just loading all the different kinds of atoms into one place so Arm 4 can just keep rocking back and forth. It's really nice when your arms can do their thing quickly like that. It's very fundamental to some. And tying with Vilfuck, we get Amaranth. The notes say, not convinced that this is the best structure for some, but it beats everything else I've tried, so there you go.
We're doing ring and smoke.
Yeah.
Now everyone, what do you think is the best method for some? Is it pairs? Is it ring and smoke? Or is there what's the last one? Halves. Or thirds.
The track rivering is nice. This much track is a splurge in some, but when you can make it work, boy does it work. Okay, we're gonna have a tie for 46th place. So, Zerfink writes, feels like something with more arms and less tracks would be better to save cycles. I feel done with my solution, though.
Consecutive ties, too.
So this is another bold set of notes, because Zerfink is saying, hey, I should use fewer arms, and one of these arms is a piston. The piston
Surfacts
does
would
do
take this
do a
off.
lot of inconvenience fixing here, though.
A piston on this much track. Zorfax would age 100 years seeing this, GUI says. Hey, at least he's gonna be fine about the fact that there's less than 9 arms. No, we have to force Zorfax to look at the life-sensing potion solved with the piston.
So tied with Zerfing, we have Essentiam. The notes say, I tried. And trying did work.
Hey, Essentium made to the top 50. And I believe that was his goal. Even though the solution title says 50 for it. I do love how none of these ties that we've seen so far are like identical solves. It's nice to see variation.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages that Sum has. Once the puzzle is complex enough, you're never going to see the same two machines. People just think differently when making some solutions. Like this hex arm into Bonder to prepare the third. Well, not the third, the sixth. Like, who else is going to do that? And then Arm 4 finishes this creation of a half and then brings it over to Arm 5 to for a halves attaching station. This is good stuff. We're going to drop a little bit. Let's not get too excited over the size of drops yet, though.
Resum drop.
Ha! I get to use the zoom out.
Well.
Okay, like, look at this brick. To me, this brick made no sense, but Video Cake went, nah, I got this, bro. Watch this. Bam. Just rearranged into a perfect halve. Now just output it and you're done.
For those of you unaware of the zoom in DRM, in the DLC version, it's available as a beta option on Steam and as the community edition now.
Yeah, this dropped like a few hours ago.
As mostly I asked Luna very nicely, hey, can I have some zoom for next week as a treat?
Yeah, and Mr. Royal Spade found it, but by saying, "Hey, I've been away for a while. What's this new thing I missed?" And Spade was the first one to notice it.
If I woke up early, I might have noticed earlier because Luna DM'd me, but yeah.
Thank you for submission, Video Cake. I really like this rearranging station.
Why is this not in the main game? Because Zach says Zoom is for nerds. That's essentially his quote.
Yeah, and
Piston.
And you can tell because this UI element here doesn't fit with the rest of the Opus Magnum style that well. It is for us nerds.
I've said to Luna it should be the other way around though. Mine should be on the left.
Anyway, this is one sum better. Oh yeah, previously Video Cake was complaining about how other methods didn't work better than the day one solution. Astanova writes, "This is somehow the best that I could come up with. Yes, it has a piston, yes, it has a dry bonder, and far more bonders that are probably unnecessary, but every time I tried to optimize cost with different layouts, I lost far too many cycles to make it worth it. Looking forward to seeing the far more elegant solutions.
The hex arm and it's got a piston. Zorfax will feel very conflicted about this solve. Actually, who am I kidding? He hated the life-sensing potion solve, which had both a piston and a hex arm.
Okay. Ooh. So, very nice sum score here.
Nice. Why is that a tri-bonder? Does it tri-bond? It does once.
This is the tri-bond. The notes say, meow, 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 meow. I think I pronounced that right.
So true.
So we're seeing a few of these, like, multi-arms doing disassembly in different ways in order to save cycles on pulling each of the 4 inputs needed. And very cool unjostling here. So we're gonna have another tie.
Wow.
Not that bad of a guess. Not that bad of a guess, actually.
This is 40th. That means this is a 3-way tie.
Yes.
Which isn't even the first 3-way tie in some, but
So this kinda looks like a modified Bestigon solution. Triangle tracks are pretty good. Because they give arms a lot of flexibility. They are expensive, though. That being said, this did get Olivia to 40th place, so it is a fine method. So, tied with Olivia, we have Zanuck. Having a parser moment. Just a sec.
parser moment. Yeah, this is Olivia Juliet solve.
Yeah. Working on it.
If you press F10 and it doesn't appear, it's probably because it's already there. Maybe?
Okay. Tied with Olivia Juliet, we have Zanuck.
Outs.
Whoa. So check this out. Arm 1 swings this chunk back, pivots it to both debond this, fully debond this input, and also get the big thing onto place into the bonders to finish assembling the halve. And the half can just be carted away. It repeats the process. Very stylish. The notes say, using a neat little elbow trick got me to 451, but pretending to use it saved me even more. I'm trying to avoid using homophones of the current metric, since I'm concerned that math puns could be divisive. Hey! So the third member of the tie is, what is a username? There are no notes. Let's see this go. Okay, so immediately what jumps out to me is this brick of 2 inputs side by side of the same orientation. How does this even get rearranged into something usable? Like that. That's how you do it. And this pivoting arm can just pop the half over to this final assembly arm, and there you go. Very cool. What is the username? All these rearrangements are inspiring. So we got some unjostling over here. Desk Weasel comments, great design on the input. Anyhow you try to use it, it's somehow the wrong way. Yep, that's Roshambonite for you. So this construction method seems like it would take a lot of cycles, and yeah, it does, but Desk Weasel is really economizing on the cost of the arms. And I think track too. There's only 25 Gilder worth of track here. Relatively few bonders too. It just makes sense. Okay, hold on. I need to see what these 2 inputs are doing. Okay, so the hex arm grabs both of these inputs, starts carrying them across the 4 different debonders. Now there's just 3 loose atoms and an elbow. How is this going to be fixed? It's partially fixed with this track and a pivot. And the triangle track showing why it's so flexible. Bam, we have a completed half. This is nice. All that happens in relatively few cycles, so even though this stuff here looks expensive, it pays off in the speed. In chat, A Tertiary Tie writes, the first thing I did when solving the puzzle was make a list of all 8 or so ways you could do a magic dodge there to get the 4-atom thing out, and then ended up using none of them. This is a mean puzzle. It makes you do stuff like that. Okay, so we are going below 400 now.
400, let's go. I'm sure HMAG had the same reaction.
CrazyBot is questioning how there could be a tertiary tie if there is no tertiary. Well, that means everyone's tertiary tied, aren't they? Null equals null. Or something, I'm not a computer scientist.
Well,
I think that...
I'm pretty sure I've written...
I'm pretty sure
I've compared null to null.
Yeah.
Code.
I think if you do that, the program takes a screenshot. Anyway, this is pretty slick assembly here. Only 4 arms. Very nice.
Usually it's to check if a null object is in fact a null object. Null is all equal to null, but nan is not equal to nan. True.
It's a good thing we're just comparing integers here. No lexicographic ordering, no secondaries, no tertiaries, just whose number is the smallest.
Welcome to number comparing stream. Apparently JavaScript would laugh at null equals null and do something unexpected. Good thing I don't code in JavaScript.
So the notes say, sub 400, yay. I don't think it's possible to make a cheaper and better sum solve. Maybe one could trim 1 or 2 rails, but that's it. A better sum is surely possible aiming for 18 rate. 30 rate here with minimum 26 required. But I'll let it to more experienced people. Surely one could say 50 plus cycles, and 50 Gilder is a lot of flexibility. I like this puzzle. Going for sum blindly is a very dark path, though. Hope I did well, but I have no idea. Yeah, sum doesn't really give you a target to aim for. You kind of just have to play sum and get good in order to understand it. It's a very different play style than your cost cycles or area. Okay, dropping a little bit. There are no notes. So again, we have few arms, splurging on track and making good use of it. This puzzle does kind of yearn for track, given how much you have to rotate stuff around and how there's not a central atom. So if using track is the only way to use your arms efficiently, then take advantage of that track you need. Here's Panic. The notes say, way too many bonders, and arms 3 and 4 are doing nothing half the time. This can't be good, right? I mean, it's below 400.
Oh yeah, there was predictions as to how many bonders and debonders people have. The winning solve will have in its sum solve. The winning sum solve would have.
So a lot of bonds do need to be formed in the output. So extra bonders is called for in a sense. Now, questioning whether you need 6 of them is a good instinct to have in sum. One guideline that I once read about sum is that if you think there's too much stuff in it, you're probably right. So this is clearly not going to be the sum record, but it does have some good ideas for sum, and Panic is aware of the ideas that are less good. Thank you for submitting. Congratulations on being below 400. Oopsie.
Another part for a moment.
Yep. I'll be back in a jiffy. Okay. Okay. So I skipped ahead a step, but that's okay because this is a tie anyway. At 383.
We can go back. Just remember to not instinctively press F9.
Yep. Gotta press a different button. It's tricky having more than one button. Anyway. So these three arms are doing a lot. They make the assembly look real nice here. Check out this pivot that Arm 6 is doing. Like, it's already holding on to this completed halve after it does its magic pivot. So at that point, move it over to the half section. And since the thing it originally did was just a pivot, there's a lot of freedom in where Arm 6 can be. Looks like Vermilion Dragon decided that this is where it should go, which is a good spot. And Arms 2's job is both chirality fixing and moving this input. It's just nice.
Also, Gooey is asking, is this a new fast to solve? I believe so. Unless we've already seen faster and haven't been paying enough attention.
A tertiary tie also had a pretty fast solution, but it was 94 cycles instead of 92. Perhaps the same rate.
Yeah.
And before that, nothing is as fast. So Gooey is correct. That rate speed is how all of this expensive stuff is so worth it. Thank you for submitting, Vermilion Dragon. Okay, now let's press a different button that I usually press. Ooh, okay. So look at this, like, back channel that Arm 3 is doing. It looks like this area is where all the action is, but Arm 3 is taking this input the long way around in order to prepare it for construction right here. So now you have this chunk that is almost a completed halve. A little bit of pivoting and sliding, and then it finally works. Interestingly, less track this time. The notes say, synchronizing arms 2 and 3 took forever, but watching the Iron Earth stick drop right into position made it all worth it in the end. Unfortunately, I don't think this is true syrup because the stick is technically accessible by Arm 3, but both its atoms are in position that no gripper ever reaches. And syrup is one of those ideas that you don't need to be super pedantic about. Okay. We are dropping one sum. Hey, Arm 1, what are you doing? What's this about? Like, all these Earth atoms next to each other, how are you gonna fix this? And Arm 3, like, drops an atom onto the Critelli. So...
Great Critelli positioning.
yeah.
The notes say, wow, it sure would be convenient if I had a second input with the opposite chirality. Oh, I know. I'll make my own.
Based.
So that's what it's doing.
Yes! Okay, now I see what you're doing, Arm 1. Okay, so now with the opposite chirality input, just slapping it all together is, like, so easy. There's Something syrupy going on over here when assembling the halves. Oh, wow. Yeah, I love this now. Thank you, Seer Sky.
Oh, and arm 1 just keeps rotating, because why not?
Whee! Okay, there's a lot going on at the top, so let's take a closer look. So there are only a few motions that Arm 1 does here. But those very few motions combined with Arm 2 turning the input is already making a third here. You could snap everything off with an extra pivot. Then, oh, it's just another turn and pivot to put the other two atoms into place, and now you have a half ready. Okay, yeah, I vibe with this. It needs a lot of bonders and debonders to do what it does, but it does what it does so quickly. This is tied with
The new fastest solve.
Yeah.
Yeah. The previous fastest solve. By Vermilion Dragon in 33rd.
Mm-hmm. This is slightly less expensive than Vermilion Dragons and slightly more area intensive, but so it wins out by 3. Random Name writes, Random Name would never submit a sum solve that costs way more than it should. Random Name has never once made a sum solve that didn't cost way more than it should.
That sounds like something Biggie would say too. Except replace Random Name with Biggie.
Yeah. People that do sum tend to have distinct styles of whether they want to do things slow or fast. I think
People that are usually Cycles mains tend to do them fast.
Yeah, I think the understanding of how expensive versus fast a solution should be is evolving lately. Let me say that again. It's changing lately. Evolving is a way that a large language model would phrase it. You know.
And Dart says, can ARM 5 not do ARM 6's job? Which one's ARM 5, which one's ARM 6? This is way zoomed out.
Okay, so part of ARM 6's job is to do this pivot. And ARM 5 can't grab it there.
Yeah, that's the important job it has to do.
Yeah, ARM 5 is otherwise pretty busy, so Still, really good, Random Name. We are dropping some. Okay. So now we're dropping just by 1.
Piston.
Yeah, Code Green says, holy shit, piston arm? Yep, that's a piston. Also, well, okay, this input suppression thing. Code Green is all the way up here, but is still making an arm divert time just to deal with this input suppression thing. And you would think that if ARM 1 is doing all that, the arm it's making way for would be like a really important central arm. It's the piston. The piston is getting special treatment. And yet, this is only 200 Gilder. Another thing to point out about this solution is that the area is low for this recent set of solutions. They've previously been like above 70. This one is 53. It does everything in a pretty compact footprint. So if you're saving 20 hexes on area, yeah, you can afford that piston. Thank you, Code Green. So we're going to have another tie, and we're continuing the theme of lower area. Here's John John. I like this arm one. So it uses syrup tech to make this elbow. And then it just kind of rocks this elbow back and forth in order to attach the spokes to make a half. So it never has to do a regrab or anything. Yeah, this is such a cool idea, fiddling. Also, peak track loop. I think these arms switch places. Oh, no, yeah, they do switch places between the halves, and then go back to their original orientation once the output is complete. Okay, and tied with John John, we have CrazyBot.
Ooh, that does mean Jamu beats CrazyBot, I think. Oh my god, that is so many bonders and debonders.
Only 4 arms, pretty economical on track. And on area. So let's take another look at what arm 3 does. So this chunk is misshapen. So by pulling it back, does the debonding. That can just be pushed forward again. This bonding and debonding happens in 2 cycles. And then it's moved again to finish the half. It's great. CrazyBot says, threw this together 5 hours before deadline. It used to have a hex arm to go faster, but that ate too much area to be worth it. I hate that there's an arm with only 4 instructions, but I can't work out how to get rid of it. I don't like some, let's move on. Well, if you say so, CrazyBot. I'll move on. So the area shavings are really mattering here. Now we have a pretty good split between cost and cycles. Daniel's just doing all this with less stuff. This is one of the advantages of unjostling, because it was viable in Bestagon, and Bestagon is a pretty good strained space. Maybe it saves area in some, and it seems like it does.
Bringing Spoke also saved a lot of area and was the top for Bestagon, but having to do that many bonds and debonds and dealing with single atoms isn't as good in some. So, like, we haven't actually been seeing much of the ring and spokes anymore.
Yep. Now it's about preserving the bonds. We're going to take another big question mark drop. Really economizing on area this time. It's 45 only.
Is this the new smallest? I believe the last time we mentioned that was the smallest winged pearl, which is a while ago.
Olivia Juliet had a really small one at 40 area.
Oh yeah, that's smaller then. That was smaller. Brother Moshe is asking, have we seen cheaper?
We have not.
New cheapest solution.
Yeah, this is just two bonders, 3 arms, a little bit of track to smooth the ride. It's when you use this little amount of stuff, you can afford to take a while. Okay, I'm bored of talking about area and some. So, all of this is being taken up, and Matter Monkey is using it very well to assemble the halves. Look at Arm 3 tidying everything up.
Damn, that's a 7-sum drop.
Matter Monkey writes, "It's relatively cheap and relatively fast. There are few arms, they don't have much downtime, and little effort is wasted. For instance, no bonds are made that must later be broken, or vice versa. So surely this must be at least decent, right?" And it is.
24 is at least decent.
Iris has said in chat that she's next, and she is. Copy, copy, copy. The notes say, "First off, I want to whine about the input being chiral, and the wrong kind of chiral. I think everyone that solved this puzzle knows what I'm talking about. You need to spend a bunch of effort fixing up the input one way or another. I have made so many solves and so many attempts. My 7th solve was the best I had for a long while at 367. After many, many, many fruitless attempts and approaches, I managed to find a solve that beat it. By 1! It was enough of a different solve that I was able to play around with it for a while and get things down to 361, though. I do wonder sometimes if the real massive improvements aren't hiding somewhere in my other solutions. The ones that seem like they are obviously worse. Every time I make a new solve and compare it against my current best, I am comparing a solve I tried to optimize as hard as possible with a brand new one I just made. But more likely, I just missed better approaches entirely. Shoutouts to Arm 2, which is one length and very deliberately placed to not eat up as much area as it used to. And I also played around with the output sequence of Arm 5 to reduce the area. Other than that, it's a pretty simple solve, I think, constructing the product by halves. I think the notes explain it pretty well. This does look a lot like Iris's solution. Oh. Okay, what's wrong with this?
This is Iris's solution.
Okay. I said it was gonna be... Okay. Yeah, this is better. This is more like it. This is a bold choice of track.
Cheap.
Swapping! It's interesting that ARM 1 can do all the different required kinds of disassembly just because it's on a track. There are no notes. This is a good argument for the unjostling method. So, I mean, if only 3 arms can get it done relatively quickly. I mean, what can the other methods put up to that? Guess we'll see as we keep dropping. It's tie time again.
Mika's been doing really well.
So already we've got something a little wacky going on here. ARM 1 does one thing, and it's this pivot. So we have that hex arm carrying 2 inputs into a bonder idea again. Now it's used to do unjostling with this 4-track. And with this 1 helper arm, that's really all you need.
I always love when there's 2 different length arms on a track. On a track loop. The notes say, I was really excited to see a sum metric because I got into this 2 weeks after seeing Goodbye Galaxy's video about sum. Hoping this is good enough to make the mainstream. It sure is. And then says ARM 1 looks very deletable, but all my attempts at removing it ended up losing more than 20 cycles.
Yeah, sometimes you just have a helper arm. That's what the record for Surrender Flare has in it. There's one big hex arm doing big flashy swings, and then the length 2 arm that's just, here's your Quicksilver. Congratulations on top 20. Now, tied is Love Math Boy. The notes say, this solution is called dim sum because I am dim at sum. This solution uses 50 Gilder of track, can definitely be fixed, but I can't fix it, so the score isn't very good. I would expect the best score to be around this score minus 50, i.e. around 300. So I like this movement here, where arm 1 swings right and then left immediately, and both of those are consecutive bonding moments. That's nice. I can see what Love Math Boy was saying by the expense of the tracks, that given how minimal the bonding and debonding is done here, and it being it not being super slow, it works. This actually has almost the very same cost cycles area spread as Mika. It's just one more area and one fewer cycle. You're gonna have another 3-way tie.
Again.
Don't worry, there's more variety in what they look like this time. Well, I mean, I guess their score spread. Okay, Elijah, it's not that much variety, but still. Check this out. Look at what Arm 3 is doing. It's a two consecutive bonds with the swing left, swing right idea. This is looking like a really solid approach to unjostling. Yeah, these counterintuitive instruction sequences, like immediately undoing the thing you just did, but it causes bonds or debonds. That is also really good for some because you don't have to reset those two instructions. They were resetting each other. There are no notes. Eggsucker 888 says, Stick's method was invented by Samuel Stick in 1966 when he bonded two atoms together. That's canon. That's a real thing that happened. So we have a pretty cool track loop here. A thing about track loops is, like, a lot of, like, some solutions, a few of the solutions that we've done so far have been conspicuous in the amount of track they use, but the thing is, if you have arms on a track loop that are sharing it, they both get the advantage of the track, but you only have to pay for the track once instead of twice. We're just getting incrementally more efficient ways of putting together the two sticks, the two long sticks for unjostling.
Why does Automod say my message is being checked by mods and has not been sent? What's wrong with saying the three-way ties has helped Jamu? Sounds pretty sus. True.
The same fancy hex arm, but the hex arm does like a backwards rotate in order to make it easier to grab for the two arms on the track loop. Yeah, that's how that works. Oh, okay. This bonder here is single use, but it avoids all of the possible wrong bonds. I think the single use contributes to why this in the tie. This is the most expensive one. It just does the rest better enough to make it work. Okay, let's break out of this tie now. By a little bit. Just to some. So we aren't dropping cycles that much as we go down. The main ways that we've been descending into the 300s is by using the same stuff you bought more efficiently. So this is actually not halves method, because something else is attached onto this half in order to bring it back to the original.
You go first.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. I know.
I was gonna say.
Say your thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say Calarese is coming in again with unorthodox assembly methods.
That is a Calarese thing.
Mm.
Sub 350. Rosa says, somewhere around iteration 30, I got on the trail of that clean as hell assembly method for one half, and dropped 50 or so points within a few hours of optimizing that. I feel like this approach doesn't get much better than this anymore. Surely sub 350 is good for this anyways, right? It sure is. I hope I get a good rank on this solely because with my current tournament record, it'd be funny to establish myself as being very good exclusively at vibes-based metrics in snowflake-shaped puzzles. Well, maybe?
15th is pretty good.
If you're good at some vibes, you can take a crack at other sub-puzzles too. A whole bunch have been added to the leaderboard lately. I like ARM too. This is part of that assembly method for a half that Rosa was talking about. Oraconda writes, was busy this week, so this is an optimized new solution 1. ARM 5 sucks. There's a lot of unused tape. You almost certainly don't need 4 bonders. I would be very surprised if we don't see sub 300 some. Guessing it's somewhere around 140 gilder, 100 cycles, 60 area.
That's 300 exactly.
Yeah. Moraconda with the big predictions again. So this is a motif we haven't
This is
seen.
funny. It looks almost like a speed solve.
So what ARM 3 is doing here, this is a rite of passage for a lot of ring solutions. You can totally just build the ring around an arm completely. It's just that then you can't get the arm out. So this arm does only 5 out of 6 segments of the Roshambonite, and then passes it off to ARM 5. I like it.
It's funny how this almost looks like a speed solve. It's like, oh, I can't cut my own arm. Better move it.
Okay. We have another tie.
Wow. I remember Biggie saying her solve was fast but expensive. And has it's a Biggie solve, alright?
Yeah. The notes say, an early sum I never beat. Fair enough.
That's a Biggie solve, alright. It's bricking. In a very interesting way.
Yeah, so this is a chunk of Roshambonite that doesn't really have a name yet. But stuff is attached to that chunk to make it work.
J. Making 2 J's and then attaching the separate spokes.
This is pretty fast. It's
So
under
fast.
under 100 cycles.
That sounds like Biggie, alright. Way more cost than cycles.
So tied with Biggie, we have Winged Pearl. So this is a pretty sophisticated, kinda halves, kinda thirds, because it's sticking these two inputs together at the same time that they're debonded. So, so then the loose atoms can be taken care of. Really is minimizing regrabs here for ARM 2. There are no notes. Okay, that was the last high we're going to have, so it's a straight shot all the way down.
Keep them drops coming.
Jamu, you're up.
Finally. Long enough. I like that track.
Interesting track shape,
Reminds me
and
of songs from last week in the appreciation stream. Gooey might remember.
the notes say, bad solve, hopefully top 50.
Oh yeah, this is top 50, alright.
Very cool unjostling here. So, Arm 2 is both a helper arm for funny chirality problem and for getting the third stick into place. Arm 1 is for assembling the third stick.
Times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arm 1 is great. And Arm 3 does all of the assembly, really. Delightful. Thank you, Jamu. Let's move on to the top 10. We're going to drop by one sum.
The Jocelyn. Oh, this looks very similar to the previous solve. That's almost identical.
Yeah, it has one fewer bonder. Does take longer for it though, and two areas smaller, so the area did help. The notes say, found this pretty elegant length 2 arm and hex arm setup to generate 3 2-atom sticks, and bonding 2 of the sticks directly onto the product after the second debond is smooth. Unfortunately, due to the debonder placement, I could not find a convenient way to attach the third stick, without passing back from the hex arm to the length 2 arm, which adds some delay. Yeah, that's that delay compared to Jamu's version of this. Let's drop another one sum. The notes say, probably my first submission that does not involve an overly fast solution. I sunk most of the time on this solve, but I think lower may be possible.
Interesting assembly method too. What is it doing? That's some mad syruping at the end.
Yeah. Let's see this syrup a little slower. So, this is basically a halve, but then Surgity is going to syrup it to fix it. Just like that. So now the half is taken off to the side. Picks up another stick. And then more of the same syruping idea. So that's done twice.
Pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same syruping. Yeah.
Yeah. Using the same bonder-debonder setup to make it happen.
This is a really good week for Surgy D, too. 3rd and 9th. No, 2nd and 9th.
Eighth place, we have Ebanov. The notes say, buffering the scissor atom to fix chirality and pulling in the input from the other direction at the same time is a lot of value. But look at that half-empty tape. Yep, this is Jamu's hex art basically, but with a track. I don't know who to accredit this hex arm to, a lot of people have it. And the reason this hex arm is on a track because this bonder is reused to form a different bond of the final product. That tricky sixth ring bond. Okay. So now we have something that looks different. Oh, okay, a bunch of... So Arm 3... Arm 3's pivot puts this chunk into a place where it's ready for bonding. Then Arm 3 takes that atom over here so it can pick up the rest of the half, and then with some more pivoting, the half is complete. So it's a lot of work Arm 3 is doing that Arms 1 and 2 have set up really well for it. Then Arm 4 can just finish the half-making process, or half-putting together process. The notes say, I am quite happy with the fact this solution has no tracks, since if I try to add any, it just makes it worse. I converged on this layout pretty quickly in about 4 hours, but after that I could barely make improvements after another 5 hours of searching. All I could do is shave 2 area off. The only gripe I have is there's no glyph reuse, since each bond uses a different glyph. And I think better solutions will have some glyph reuse, but besides that, I think the area and cycle part are quite decent. This is in the top 10, so everything is really good here. And all these good players with great solutions are calling their solutions bad. Like, what the heck is going on? The notes say, I haven't had much time to spare this week, so I don't expect a good performance. This seems much too expensive. Arm 5 in particular is very painful. Better solves should hopefully get 300 or less. Okay, people have been claiming 300. Where are they getting that from? Nice round number? Yeah, I sure would expect a 300 if I was messing around with this cursed puzzle. And be bemoaning that I didn't get it. But yeah, this is a very nice, snappy assembly method.
Goodbye Galaxy says this puzzle didn't have the sauce and people were looking for sauce.
Okay, top 5 time.
There is no sauce. There is only pain. Damn.
So this looks like unjostling mostly, but for each of the spare atoms that comes across that comes from the inputs, they're stored over to the side to make a third, and then that third is able to connect with the greater molecule, and it just works.
Oh, I like this.
There are no notes.
It's so smooth.
Fourth place? Wish push. Okay, 3 arms on a track loop. We have some serious unjostling here.
Also, we're at the Bonder and Bonder count of 3.
There are no notes. I don't think any amount of notes could explain 3 arms on a track loop. It's just good.
Kelly Reese is saying Mr. Puzzle versus Goodbye Galaxy is real.
Okay. We are on the podium. And really, Goodbye Galaxy doesn't belong anywhere else. Welcome to the podium.
Touchdown 2.0.
The notes say, Bonder puzzles are not my forte. And yet, it's beautiful.
Mr. Puzzle and Rebix left. Both really strong players when it comes to some.
In second place, we have Rebix. So the theme of top 10 has been a bunch of magic pivots to just slap everything together in a godly way. When this came in really early, I made a prediction in the tournament playtest chat that, yeah, Rebix already won some. Now, I was wrong, but I was pretty close. Pivots are so wonderful in some, not just because they don't have to be reset, but they mean that a single arm has an additional degree of freedom. This is like the real reason that you don't need pistons that often, because a piston is just giving you a third degree of freedom. What do you need that much for? You already have both a shoulder and a wrist on your arm. Surely you could figure something out. At the highest levels, anyway. And Rebix truly has. But who could beat both Rebix and Goodbye Galaxy at some? The one, the only, Mr. Puzzle.
Up 300, baby.
And the only submission with less than 300 some.
Also, Jocelyn method. unjostling method.
There are no notes. We
He's
simply
using
have to
GG
bask in
the
his
chat.
glory.
This isn't GG, this is Mr. Puzzle. The pivots speak for themselves.
Look
I'd say surprisingly little syruping.
Look at this instruction tape and how much of it is pivoting. It's delightful. Arms 3 and 4 don't even swing, they just pivot. Thank you, Mr. Puzzle, for showing us the way. Okay. I am going to dump the showcases.
Yeah, still need to fix that.
Yeah, this way is...
It works too.
Yeah, I do like this way, actually. Give me a moment. Okay. Speed solve. This one is my dark brick. Thank you, Zorflack. So this is what happens when you try to speed solve this puzzle. You get flashbanged by the chirality, and you throw bonders and debonders at it until it fixes itself.
Also, we can probably close the parser.
Yeah.
Have you closed the parser?
I have, but like the file that... Oh, hang on. I think I know how to...
Also, spreadsheet has been updated, everyone. Good news, it's still theoretically possible to beat Rebix. For anyone to beat Rebix, as long as they win every single week from now on, and Rebix does not play from now on.
Okay, hold on. I'm a little stuck.
What are you stuck on? The overlay has disappeared if you're curious about that.
Okay. This is by random name. The notes say, one fixes chirality and the other performs serum. There's also a single arm sitting between them, desperately trying to make the solve not break. This is an old version of a sum solve that I thought ended up being funny enough to deserve being shown off, even if it didn't end up being very good at sum itself. And this motif of a hex arm that fixes the inputs has been seen before, so I recognize how this works. This one is by Series. It's an overlap Bestagon. The notes
Three
say...
Vestagon real.
The notes say, making Roshambonite is tricky on its own. Making Roshambonite within its own footprint requires a miracle. Fortunately, I'm in the business of miracles. Bonus points to anyone who could tell me why I called this solve extremely stinky. If these notes have not been edited to remove this, this is likely my final submission to this tournament. It's been fun, but I can't be devoting my time to it anymore. Aw. We appreciated you while it lasted, Series. This one is by Leganeski. The notes say, what would have been a nice small 10-rate layout if the chirality weren't quite so evil. Yep, if you don't have to deal with the chirality problem, this puzzle is a lot easier.
It's kind of funny that the error box does that with Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is by Minerman 60101. The notes say, I realized it wouldn't be too hard to hit a minimum cost on this puzzle, so I figured I'd do it. Yep, you can ring and spoke this. This might have been interesting for a cost with a secondary of product, but not that interesting. It's something the leaderboard will find out. Okay. This one is by Eggsucker 888. The notes say, my first sum attempt. If I remember correctly, Eggsucker 888 significantly improved on this. Okay, we've seen a lot of sum, so I'm gonna simply move on from this. This is by Kushwan Liu. The notes say, have anyone made a cycle solution for this puzzle? But I think my cycle is much slower than the best cycle. 61 is fast, though. Mr. Toza can sell this stone with my fast machine. Thank you for your showcase, Kushwan Liu. For future reference, I intend Toza as a Mrs. rather than a Mister. But I don't think that's gonna come up.
I don't think it's been mentioned in the... Has it even been mentioned in the lore?
I have not mentioned that in the lore. Toza has just been in the shadows this whole time.
No pronouns have been mentioned. Oh my god, they were roommates.
My pronouns are invisible.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
Okay, this solution is by Greenfields.
Percy Bot saying Mrs. Toes. Mrs.
This has some elements of line swing and overlap. Greenfield just be gaming.
That overlapped Bonders doing what every one of us hopes to achieve out of a everyone wishes we could do without overlap.
Real. This is by Dark Brick. Spot the pivot of the week. Difficulty impossible.
Oh god. Oh, is this pivot only? Oh yeah, this is pivot only. You give us a more than one atom input, we're doing pivot only. None of these arms are rotating, that's for sure.
Yep.
And I don't think any of them are capable of retracting or moving on track. Retracting, extending, or moving on track.
Okay. Pretty straightforward. The pivot is this one that Arm 12 is doing. Found it. Okay. This one is by Zerfink. The notes say, I tried a long time to optimize this layout and was happy with the result. Then I found another layout and got a solution that was a lot faster but less cool. Hence submitting this one for showcase. Might be similar to other designs in the competition though. Who knows? So this would have been interesting because it is doing the ring and spokes, but the ring isn't actually done by the time the spokes are being attached to one of the ring segments. Very cool.
This is the hybrid method that we were all talking about on the previous stream but never showed up.
Yep. This one is by Shavor. Since I don't have much experience with finding good sum solutions, I just tried out 3 totally different approaches and looked what scores best. This was the worst by far, but I still think it's an interesting approach.
I love it.
Fine, I'll make my own center atom if you won't give me one. Okay, this one is by No Longer Breathed In. Rate with a secondary of period. Yeah, this is a No Longer Breathed In solution. Style. Just very clear style. Okay. This one is by Dose Boots. Optimized for height.
High five.
Can we get high fives in the chat? Is crazy bot solution saying I don't think I need to explain this. This is what Bestigon would be if it didn't have to be a regular hexagon. And as mentioned, it is my bad for writing the explanation without the clarity that it required at first.
Here's a high five, I think. Left hand against screen. At least that's what I got when I looked up high five emoji. There's also folded hand emoji, but it looks like prayer emoji.
Okay, this is Vermilion Dragon. Note say, I thought I was clever here with the input suppression having atoms go over 7 of the 8 tracks. But then I decided to do a brand new layout and beat this by over 100 cycles. I spent too much time optimizing this to not show it, and who knows, maybe it could still be in top 50 if it were counted separately. Let's see. I don't remember if 356 was enough to get into the top 50. It's a good thing you found that other solution.
356? Nope. Barely not.
Okay,
It would have been 53rd.
and that's it. Whew, I will be ending stream now. I hope you have fun with tax fraud, the week 5 puzzle.
I love tax fraud.
Okay. Bye!
Thank you all for coming.